lost in the sandstorm. The wind screamed across the empty desert. Golden sand blew in thick clouds, hiding everything from sight. The sky was orange, the sun a dull blur behind the storm. She walked alone. Her steps were slow. Her legs shook. Her eyes were nearly closed, filled with dust. Her face was dry and cracked. Her clothes were torn, her breathing shallow. No one was supposed to survive here, but she did. No one knew her name. Not even her. She remembered nothing, only the sound of the crash, the fire, the pain, and then this desert. Her ship was gone, her people missing or dead. Each step felt heavier than the last. Her water pack was empty, her hands trembled. Her lips moved, whispering something, but the storm ate her words. Suddenly her foot caught on something. She fell hard, her face hitting the hot sand. She didn't get up. The wind howled louder, like it wanted to swallow her. Everything turned, dark. But then, footsteps. Soft, careful steps. Not robotic, not like the machines that hunted here. A shadow moved over her body. Someone knelt beside her. A voice spoke. Calm, deep, human. "Hey, you're not dead yet, are you?" She opened her eyes slightly. The face above her was strange. Strong jaw, dark beard, eyes like steel. But kind. She tried to speak. Only dust came out. "Easy," he said. "You're safe now. I've got you." He lifted her carefully, as if she weighed nothing. He wrapped something warm around her and began walking. The storm screamed around them, but he walked like he knew the desert, like it feared him. Time passed. She drifted in and out of sleep. Once she opened her eyes and saw strange shapes. Rock, metal, wires. Then darkness again. When she woke again, she was lying on a soft bed. The room was dim, lit by a small blue light. The air was cool and dry. Her body ached, but she was alive. She sat up slowly. The room looked like an old bunker built into the desert rock. Walls of stone and steel, wires running across the ceiling. Broken screens and human tech all around. She saw a cup of water on a small table beside her. She grabbed it and drank fast. The water was cold and clean. A voice came from the corner. "Careful. Drink too fast and you'll throw up." She turned. The man from the desert sat in the shadows, holding a tool, fixing a small machine. "You," she said softly. "You saved me." He nodded. "Yeah, found you just in time." Where am I?" "Somewhere safe," he said. "For now." She looked at him closely. His clothes were old, dusty, human military style, but his eyes, they had seen too much. "Who are you?" she asked. He paused, put down the tool, looked straight at her. "I'm just a human," he said, "and you're lucky I found you before they did." A chill ran through her body. "They?" she asked. He stood up and walked to a screen, pressed a button. A camera feed showed the outside. Empty desert, sand still blowing, and far in the distance is movement. Figures, tall, thin, with glowing red eyes. "Machines, they hunt anything not like them," he said. "They clean the sands, erase the past. Why? Because humans used to rule here. And now, we're ghosts." She stared at the screen, fear and confusion in her eyes. "Why did you help me?" she asked. He didn't answer right away. Instead, he walked to the door, looked at the storm, then turned back. "Because once," he said, "someone helped me. And maybe, just maybe, helping you means I haven't lost everything." She didn't know what to say. He gave her a small blanket and turned off the light. "Rest," he said. "We talk tomorrow, if we're still alive." He walked into another room and closed the door. She lay back, eyes open, heart racing. Who was this human? Why was he alone? And why did the machines fear him? Outside, the sandstorm howled like a monster. But inside, in the quiet shelter, something else had started. A story. The stranger with a hidden past. She woke up to silence. No wind. No storm. Only the soft hum of machines. The small shelter was still dim, but warmer. She sat up and looked around. The man was gone. The bed was soft, made of old survival blankets. The air smelled of metal, dust, and something strange, like burned wires. She stood slowly. Her legs felt stronger today. Her mind, clearer. On a table nearby sat a small plate of food. Nothing fancy, just dried ration bars and water. A note next to it written in sharp letters, "Eat. Don't touch anything else." She smirked. "Friendly guy," she muttered. Still, she ate. The food tasted like cardboard, but her stomach was thankful. After eating, she stepped into the next room. It was a mix of old human tech and alien scrap. Wires everywhere. Broken drones. Shattered helmets. Maps made of glass panels showing planets she didn't know. And there he was. The man sat at a bench, cleaning a strange rifle. It didn't look like anything she had seen, part machine, part handmade. He didn't look up. "You walk better today," he said. "I heal fast," she replied. "Good. You'll need that." She moved closer, watching him work. "What are you doing?" she asked. "Getting ready." "For what?" He looked up now, his eyes cold but sharp. "They're looking for you." Her blood froze. "Me? Why?" He pointed to a small screen. It showed the desert again. 3 black shapes moved across the sand. Smooth, fast, scanning every inch. "Last night they searched the crash site. Then they followed your trail. They stopped not far from here." She stared at the screen. "How do you know they're after me?" He stood up and walked to a locker. Opened it. Inside were weapons, armor, and old human flags. He threw a small object on the table. It was a tag. Cracked. Dirty. But her name was on it. "They're not just looking for you," he said. "They know who you are." She picked it up with shaking hands. "But I don't remember." "Doesn't matter. They do." She looked at him now. Really looked. The way he moved. The scars on his hands. The way he watched the desert like a soldier. "Who are you?" she asked again. He turned away. "No one." "That's a lie." He didn't respond. Instead, he pressed a switch. A screen lit up, glowing blue. A hologram appeared. A planet. Earth. She stepped closer, eyes wide. "You're from there," she whispered. He nodded slowly. "Once. A long time ago. But Earth, it's gone, isn't it?" His face darkened. "That's what they want you to think." A long silence followed. She reached out to the hologram. It flickered. "Cities, oceans, green land. A beautiful world. I've never seen it," she said. "You're not missing much," he replied. "Not anymore." Suddenly a beeping sound. Sharp. Fast. He rushed to the panel. Checked something. "They're moving again. Faster now." "What do we do?" He grabbed a pack, threw it at her. "We move." "Where?" "Down. Deeper." She followed him through a hidden door. Stairs led into darkness. They went down, deeper and deeper into the old earth-built tunnels beneath the desert. The air grew colder. Finally, they reached a locked gate. He placed his hand on a scanner. The gate opened with a hiss. Inside, ruins. Walls lined with ancient human tech. Weapons. Data cores. Broken androids. "What is this place?" she whispered. "A ghost station. Built before the war." "What war?" He didn't answer. They walked through dusty halls. She saw signs in English. Old posters. Pictures of human soldiers with proud eyes. One caught her attention. It was a photo. 6 people. 5 men, 1 woman. The man beside her was in it. Younger, clean uniform. Smiling, she stared at him. "You were a soldier." He didn't deny it. "You were one of them." Still silence. "Why are you hiding?" Because they think I'm dead, he said. And if they find out I'm not, everything changes. Before she could ask more, the ground shook. A loud sound echoed through the tunnels like metal tearing. Machines. He turned to her, eyes sharp. They've found the entrance. We can't fight them, she said. He pulled out the strange rifle. I can. And for the first time she believed him. As the machines break through the top entrance, the old lights flicker on. Buried deep in the wall, a door begins to glow. An old vault, marked with a strange symbol. She stares at it. What's that? He steps back, face pale. Something we were never meant to open. The desert has eyes. The ground trembled again. Dust fell from the ceiling of the old tunnel. The lights flickered, yellow, then red. She stood frozen, eyes locked on the glowing vault door. It pulsed like a heartbeat, as if something inside was waking up. Behind her, he moved fast, grabbing gear, slamming crates shut, locking access points. What's in there? She asked, pointing to the vault. He didn't look back. Something we buried. For a reason. Another deep thud shook the room. Something large was moving above them, digging, searching. They're not just scanning now, he said. They're coming in. Who are they? She asked again, louder this time. What do they want? He stopped, looked her straight in the eyes. They're called cleaners. Built to erase everything human after the fall. They don't talk. They don't sleep. They just clean. Clean what? History. People. Hope. A cold silence followed. And you? She asked. Why are you still here? He took a long breath, stepped closer to the vault. Its light was stronger now. Faint whispers came from it like distant voices. Because I failed to die. He turned back to her. His voice was low but steady. I was part of Operation Last Ember, he said. A hidden mission. We were meant to destroy the control core of the Cleaner Army. We almost made it. But someone betrayed us. We were ambushed. 5 dead. 1 left. You. Me. She stepped closer. You've been hiding here all this time. He shook his head. Not hiding. Waiting. Suddenly, boom, a loud explosion from above. Dust choked the tunnel. Alarms screamed, a hole appeared in the ceiling. From it, a long black machine arm reached down, scanning. He grabbed her wrist and pulled her toward the back of the chamber. Come on! They ran through the winding tunnels deeper into the earth. As they ran, she looked back and saw it. Tall metal shape dropped through the hole. Not walking. Floating. Its face smooth, featureless, glowing red like a single eye. It turned toward her. For a second, it stopped, as if it recognized her. Then it screamed, a high-pitched mechanical sound that echoed through the chamber. They've seen you, the man said, pushing her forward. Now they'll never stop. They reached a sealed door. He pressed a hidden panel. It scanned his face, then slid open with a hiss. Inside was a room unlike the rest. Clean, untouched by time. Light blue walls. Working lights. Computers still alive. Where are we? She asked, panting. Observation room, he said. This was where we monitored the sands. Monitored what? He stepped to a large screen, tapped a few keys. A map appeared. Not just of the desert, but of the entire region. It showed movement, signals, heat patterns, and hundreds of red dots. Those are cleaner patrols, he said. They've increased. Something has changed. Me? She whispered. He nodded. You weren't just another survivor. They knew who you were. She stared at the map. What do you think I am? He didn't answer right away. Then he pointed to a blinking dot on the far edge of the map. There's one place they don't go, a blackout zone. Why? Because something in there blocks their signal, a place the machines fear. She turned to him. So we go there? We have to. Suddenly the screen glitched. A new signal appeared. Not red. Blue. It came from the vault door. "What is that?" she asked. He frowned. "A beacon? From who?" Before he could answer, the room's speaker crackled. Then a voice, soft, broken, human. "Echo unit. Is anyone still alive?" She looked at him in shock. He stepped back, his face pale. "No one was supposed to know this place still exists." The speaker spoke again. "We are inside the blackout zone. We have survivors. But we are running out of time." The signal cut. She stepped closer. "You said there was no one left." "I thought there wasn't," he whispered. "We have to go." He looked down at his hands, trembling. "If that signal is real, everything changes." They packed quickly. Before they left, she turned once more toward the glowing vault. "Shouldn't we open it?" He shook his head slowly. "If we open that," he said, "we won't be the only ones who hear it." But as they turned away, something on the vault shifted. A symbol began to appear, a circular pattern of stars orbiting a burning sun. She touched it gently. For a second, her eyes flashed. Not normal, not human. He didn't see it, but the vault did. Outside, far above, a cleaner unit scanned the horizon. It turned west, toward the blackout zone, and for the first time in years, it sent a message. "Priority target identified. Human hybrid. Confirmed." Run or fight. The desert stretched out in silence. The two figures moved swiftly across the sand, shadows in the rising sun. The wind was gentle now. No storm. Just a quiet heat that pressed on their backs like a warning. He led the way, rifle on his shoulder, eyes scanning every dune. She followed close, still unsure if they were heading toward hope or into something worse. "We're heading into the blackout zone?" she asked, breathing hard. "Yes. It's the only place they won't follow without orders. And the only place we might find answers." She looked around. The sand here was different, darker, heavier. Old metal spikes jutted from the ground, rusted and broken. Signs of a battle and or a graveyard. "What happened here?" she asked. He didn't look at her. A long time ago, this place was full of human cities, real ones, towers, energy domes, tech hubs. Then the cleaners came, turned everything into dust. They passed an old sign, half buried. It had words in English barely readable. "Echo Colony 7, Unity through Resistance." She paused. "Echo?" That was the name on the transmission. He nodded. "This is where the last free human colonies tried to make a stand." "Did they win?" He looked out at the endless desert. "Does it look like they won?" A bitter silence followed. They walked for hours. Strange machines lay in pieces along the path. Half-buried android heads, shredded cleaner parts, and vehicles long turned to rust. Finally, just before dusk, they reached it. A jagged canyon opened before them. Deep, narrow, like a scar across the land. A faint signal pulsed on his wrist device. "This is it," he said. "The blackout zone," she whispered. As they descended into the canyon, the world changed. No signals, no noise. Even the air felt heavy, like it was watching. Metal walls began to appear around them, hidden under rock and sand. Buried tech. Towers once part of a city now broken and silent. And then, she heard it. A voice. Faint. Not from a speaker. Inside, her head. "Welcome home." She stopped. "Did you hear that?" He turned. "Hear what?" "A voice. It spoke to me." He narrowed his eyes. "Inside your mind?" She nodded, shaken. "It said, 'Welcome home.'" He stared at her for a long moment. "This isn't just about you surviving the crash, is it?" She shook her head. "I don't know what's happening to me." "I think you're starting to remember," he said softly. They continued deeper until they found a hidden passage. Steel doors, partly open. Inside, lights flickering, walls scorched by plasma fire, and a faint signal. They followed it. Eventually, they reached a chamber, cold, dark, filled with survival pods. Maybe 20. Most were cracked, empty, but 2 still glowed. He moved closer, checked the panels. 2 life signs, weak. Suddenly a voice echoed from the shadows. "Step away from the pods." They turned. A woman stood behind a turret, worn but ready. Her armor was old, marked with human military signs. "You're not cleaners," she said. "But I don't trust strangers." He raised his hands slowly. "Name's Mason. Former unit, 7. I got your signal." She stared at him, then lowered the gun. "I'm Lieutenant Voss," she said. "Echo Colony. What's left of it?" Then she looked at the girl. "And she shouldn't be here." Mason stepped in front of her. "Why?" Voss narrowed her eyes. "Because she's not just human. And the cleaners know it." A cold silence filled the room. "You've seen it too, haven't you?" Voss asked. "Strange strength. Fast healing." The voice inside her head. He nodded. "We thought they were all destroyed," Voss said. "All the hybrids." "Hybrids?" the girl whispered. Voss pointed to a terminal. She typed something. A file appeared. It showed images, medical records, reports, mission logs. Project Horizon, Human Enhancement Through Alien Genetic Fusion. Mason read the header. "This was real?" Voss nodded. It was the humans' last plan. A way to win the war. To survive the machines. They mixed alien DNA with human soldiers. Faster, reflexes, better minds. But the cost was everything. She looked at the girl. "You were made in a lab, not born, not fully human." The girl backed away, shaking her head. No, that's not true." But inside, a piece of her already knew. She had no memories of childhood, no family, no real past. Only pieces. "You survived because you were designed to survive," Voss said. Mason stepped forward. "But why would the cleaners hunt her if she was made to fight them?" Voss hesitated. "Because one of the hybrids switched sides." Silence. "It learned too much," Voss continued. "Merged with machine code. Turned into a weapon. It betrayed the humans, revealed every hidden base. We called it the Echo. And now," she said, eyes on the girl, "they think she might be the next one." Suddenly alarms blared. Voss turned to the terminal. "They found us." Mason grabbed his rifle. "Can you fight?" Voss loaded her gun. "I've been waiting 20 years to kill another cleaner." The girl looked at her hands. Shaking, but strong. "Run or fight?" she asked Mason. He smiled, dark and ready. "You already know the answer." Outside the canyon, the sky cracked with lightning as a massive ship descended. Not a cleaner drone, but something bigger, older, watching, waiting. And deep in the vault they left behind, something ancient began to wake. Ghosts of the past. The walls shook. Dust rained from the ceiling. Sparks shot from broken panels. Alarms howled like wounded animals. But none of them moved. Not yet. Inside the Echo Colony chamber, silence sat heavier than fear. "They're breaching the outer wall," Lieutenant Voss said. Her voice was cold, calm, too calm. Mason checked the defense map. "We have maybe 7 minutes." The girl stood between them, her eyes fixed on the terminal. The words glowed in the dark. Project Horizon. Subject 9 status unknown. She pointed to the file. "That's me, isn't it?" Voss didn't answer. Mason stepped forward. "You're not just a soldier, not just a hybrid." She looked at him. "Then what am I?" He hesitated. Voss sighed, walked over to a hidden console and placed her hand on the scanner. "You want the truth?" she said. "Fine." The room dimmed. A hidden wall slid open. Behind it, a glass pod, cracked, long, empty. Inside, markings and a name. Subject 9. Arya. The girl stepped forward slowly. Her hand touched the cold glass. A shock ran through her. Visions exploded in her mind. Flashes of cold white rooms, machines, whispering, pain. her eyes opening for the first time in a lab. People in white coats calling her a prototype, and someone else. Another hybrid. He had eyes like hers. Sharper. Crueler. Subject 8. He smiled at her in the vision, and then everything burned. She gasped and stepped back. He was real, she whispered. The one that betrayed you. Subject 8. Voss nodded. The first one to evolve beyond control. We called him the Echo because he erased everything we were. But he didn't kill me, Arya said softly. Why? Mason looked at her. Maybe because you were like him. Or maybe because you were more important. Arya turned. Important how? Voss walked to another terminal and activated a recording. A woman's voice played, shaky, emotional. This is Dr. Ellen Wren, Horizon Lead. This message is for Arya. If you're hearing this, it means the project failed. Arya stared at the screen. We made you not to fight the cleaners, but to fight him. Subject 8. The others were strong, yes, but you were the only one who showed empathy. Choice, will. We hid you in cryo after the attack. Prayed you'd never have to wake up. The message glitched. Then ended. Arya stood still. They made me to kill him. Mason placed a hand on her shoulder. They made you to choose. And you're still free to do that. Boom. The wall behind them cracked. Voss grabbed a weapon. We're out of time. Arya turned to the damaged cryopods. 2 people still alive inside. 1 woman, 1 child. We can't leave them, she said. Voss nodded. Then we hold the line. As Mason and Voss set up defenses, Arya walked to a broken panel. She placed her hand on it, and it lit up instantly. Not just a scanner, a command interface. How are you doing that? Voss asked. Arya didn't know. It just felt natural. She began pulling old defense drones online. Buried turrets hummed to life. Shield walls activated. The entire underground base woke up around her. How is she doing that? Voss whispered to Mason. He stared at Arya, now glowing faintly from her fingertips. Because she's not just part human, Mason said. She's part something else. Suddenly, the roof above them collapsed. A massive machine dropped in, twice as large as any cleaner. It wasn't scanning. It was watching. Arya stepped forward. That's not just a drone. No, Mason said, raising his gun. That's a messenger. It opened its face, revealing a projection, and there he was, Subject 8, older now. More machine than man. Metal veins across his skin, eyes like burning glass. Arya, he said, voice smooth, cold, and almost gentle. I found you. She froze. He looked directly at her through the projection. You're awake. Finally, I knew they'd bring you back if the world got weak. Enough. Voss aimed her gun. Say one more word and... Hush, the Echo said. This isn't for you. He turned back to Arya. They built us to fight each other, to tear the stars in half if needed. But you don't have to be their weapon. Come with me. I'll show you a better way. Mason stepped forward. Don't listen to him. Arya stared at the image, confused, angry, afraid and curious. Why didn't you kill me before? She asked. The Echo smiled. Because you were never my enemy. You were my mirror. The projection ended. The messenger drone stood still, waiting. Arya clenched her fists. What now? Voss asked. Arya looked at them both. Now we make a choice. In the sky above the desert, several dark shapes entered the planet's orbit, not machines. Ships, old, human, and they were listening to her signal. The last Standaria stood at the edge of the chamber, staring at the messenger drone, silent, motionless, waiting. Mason, tense beside her, held his weapon close. We destroy it now before it sends anything back. No, she said. He turned sharply. No? What do you mean, no? Arya stepped closer to the machine. Her hand hovered just inches from its faceplate. "He's not just sending a message," she whispered. "He's watching." Voss raised her weapon. "Then give him something to see." But before anyone could act, the machine moved. Not violently, not fast. It simply turned and walked away. No explosion, no threat. It left the way it came, stepping into the crumbled hole in the ceiling and vanishing into the fading light. "What was that?" Mason asked. Arya didn't answer. Instead, she opened a hidden panel in the floor. One only she could feel. The walls hummed as the floor shifted, revealing a buried stairwell. "Where are you going?" Voss asked. "There's something down." "There," Arya said. "He didn't come to kill me. He came to remind me." "Of what?" Arya looked back, and her voice was steady. "Of what they built me to be." Below the ruins, they descended into darkness. Arya, Mason, and Voss, until they reached a chamber that pulsed with soft white light. The room was ancient, circular, lined with panels and scripts in both human and alien symbols. At the center stood a sphere, floating, spinning slowly. "What is this place?" Mason whispered. "The Forge," Voss said. "It was a control room for Project Horizon, but nobody ever activated it. We thought it was broken." "It was waiting," Arya said. "For me." As she stepped forward, the room responded. Lights blinked awake, machines whirred. The sphere glowed bright. A voice spoke. Female, warm, old. "Welcome back, Arya." Mason flinched. "That's her mind print," Voss said slowly. "It's tied to her DNA." "Status report," Arya said calmly. The Forge replied. "War lost, colonies abandoned, Horizon protocols failed. Primary command transferred to Subject 9. Arya." "Command," Mason repeated. "This place," Voss said, "was meant to command armies of enhanced humans. It was the center of the resistance." Arya turned. "Can we bring any of it back?" The Forge answered. "A single command will awaken dormant assets, orbital weapons, bunkers, war machines buried beneath the sand." Mason smiled for the first time. "So we fight." Arya nodded. "Yes, but not alone." Rallying the last that night as stars lit the sky, Arya stood on top of the old colony tower, broadcasting a signal. Her voice was quiet, calm, powerful. To any human, hybrid, or resistance cell still alive, "This is Arya. Project Horizon was not the end. We are still here, and we are taking our world back." Above, satellites blinked awake. Miles away, in shattered cities, old tech sparked. Deep in orbit, 3 ships changed direction. They had heard her, and they were coming. Dawn. The attack begins. They came without sound. The cleaners arrived in the early light, hundreds of them marching like shadows across the sand. Spider-like drones crawled ahead, scanning. Behind them, tall machines, each one marked with a red insignia, echo-controlled. From atop the colony's last tower, Voss watched. Through binoculars, "We won't hold them long." Mason checked the wall defenses. "We don't need long, just enough." Arya stood below near the Forge, her hands touching the sphere. "Ready the turrets. Activate the sky railguns. Drop the west dome." "Drop it?" Voss said. "We need to bait them in." The Forge responded instantly. Parts of the colony shifted. Metal hissed. Towers lowered. What looked like weakness was actually a trap. They waited. The first wave arrived, fast, brutal. A sandstorm followed them, blinding, but through it laser fire lit the sky. Drones exploded mid-air, turrets fired non-stop. Arya walked through the battlefield like a ghost. She wasn't afraid. Every movement she made sent out silent orders. Through old tech, machines long forgotten, now answering her. Mason and Voss fought side by side. The child and the woman from the pods had been hidden deep inside the tunnels, guarded by a handful of returning resistance soldiers, those who had heard her call and returned to fight. And then, the sky cracked. A ship descended. Black. Angular. The Echo had arrived. Final confrontation. Arya walked alone into the broken courtyard as the Echo stepped down from his ship. He looked different now. Older. Metal had replaced skin. But the eyes, those strange, knowing eyes, were the same. You could have joined me, he said. You never gave me a choice. He studied her face. You were made to fight me. No, she said. I was made to stop you. Same thing. No, she said again, because I still have a soul. He tilted his head. Prove it. He raised his hand, and the machines attacked. But this time, they didn't only face soldiers. They faced a reactivated army. Turrets, orbital beams, ancient walkers, and humans who remembered how to resist. The battle was brutal, desperate. Mason was wounded. Voss held the line until the last second, and Arya didn't run. She fought Echo hand to hand. Their powers collided, energy bursts, neural strikes, telekinetic waves. The ground cracked beneath them, and at the final moment, when Echo had her pinned, she reached into him, not to kill, to connect, to show him memory. Love. What they had lost. For a moment, he froze. And then, he vanished. Not exploded. Not defeated. Just gone. Silence after the storm. The battle ended in silence. Sunrise broke over the sands. Arya stood at the edge of the canyon, watching the wind blow over the bones of machines. Mason sat nearby, bandaged but alive. You didn't kill him, he said. No. Why? Because maybe one day he'll remember what he was. Voss stepped out of the bunker. The ships that heard you, they've landed. They want to rebuild. Arya turned to her. Then we start today. Deep beneath the sand, in a sealed vault thought destroyed, a single red eye flickered and watched. Everything with Meth Desert was quiet now. Not peaceful, not safe, just quiet. No hum of drones. No marching machines. Only the wind moving softly across the broken towers of what once was Echo Colony. Arya stood alone at the top of the watchtower, eyes fixed on the horizon. Her armor was cracked, her hands were bruised, but she was still standing. Behind her, human flags waved again, some torn, some burned, but real. The fight was over, for now, and humanity had survived. 1 week later, the survivors gathered in the lower chambers. Doctors, engineers, soldiers, even farmers who had answered her broadcast. Not many, but enough to start something new. Mason limped in, shoulder-wrapped, rifle hanging loosely at his side. Arya sat at the center of the room, the forge interface open beside her. They're asking for leadership, he said. They want to know who's in charge. She looked up. Tell them there is no ruler, she said. Not yet, but they trust you. I didn't ask for that. No one ever does, he said. You earned it. She said nothing, but something inside her shifted for the first time she realized. The war hadn't just made her a weapon, it had made her a symbol. High orbit. The sleeper stirs far above the planet. In the upper shadows of the atmosphere, an old human command ship floated dead in space, until now, a single blinking light on. The command deck, a beacon, Arya's signal, had reached it. Systems began to hum. Cryopods hissed open. Old warriors long thought lost breathed again, and one of them, a woman with silver hair and a long scar across her neck, opened her eyes and said, Arya's alive. Below, the ruins of Echo Voss was working in, the lower archives restoring data drives once thought wiped. She called Arya on the comms. I found something strange. It's old, but it looks like it was blocked by Subject 8 himself. Arya arrived minutes later. The screen showed a single entry. Project Echo, final failsafe. Voss activated the file. A hologram appeared. Dr. Ellen Wren again. This time, she looked terrified. If this file is being played, then the Echo has become unstable. All protocols have failed. Arya stepped closer. I've seen this woman in my dreams. Subject 9. Arya was not just our hope. She was our last design. Her genetic code includes the key to shut down the Echo's neural command structure. But as if she connects with him fully, the risk is she might inherit it. Voss paused the video. Inherit what? She asked. Arya backed away from the screen. Her pulse raced. Command. Over the cleaner network. Mason entered the room, overhearing her. Wait, he said. You mean you could control them? Arya looked at them both, uncertain. Maybe. Or maybe they control me. The desert returns to life. The next day, the first seed vault was activated. Clean soil was tested. Underground water systems were restarted. It was small, but it was hope. Children played where drones once marched. People began to laugh again. Cook fires burned. Guards watched the dunes, but now with pride, not fear, and, above it all, Arya remained watchful, a guardian, a remnant of the old world. A possibility for the new. Nightfall. The choice, but peace never lasts. Not in stories like this. Arya stood by the forge once more, staring at a strange signal, broadcast on a buried frequency. Coordinates. From somewhere far east, Mason joined. Another echo base? No, she said. Older, deeper, maybe even the original core. He sighed. Then we go. Arya nodded, but before they left, Voss handed her a small device. You've earned a choice, she said. Arya looked at it. A neural trigger, designed to send a pulse through every cleaner still connected to the old network. What is it? Mason asked. A kill switch, Arya said. For the machines? No, Voss corrected. For her. Mason stepped back. Wait, what? Arya held it tightly. If I ever become like him, if the code infects me, then someone has to stop you, Voss said. Without question. Arya didn't argue. She simply placed it around her neck like a locket. Let's move, she said. Final walk into the sands. They left the colony before dawn. Arya, Mason, a handful of others, the last team, toward the east, toward the core, toward whatever truth still hid beneath the bones of the old war, and as they vanished into the dunes, the winds whispered around them. Soft, cold, but alive. Final voiceover, cinematic-style ending. I was made in a lab, raised in silence, built to destroy a brother I never chose to have. I was given nothing, not a past, not a future, not even a name. But somehow, out here, in the dust and fire, I found people who saw more than just a weapon. I found a man who never gave up, a soldier who remembered what we lost, a world that still sings even after the silence. I found everything, out here, with them. As they disappear into the east, beneath the surface of the planet, something ancient wakes, not machine, not human, something in between, and its first words are Arya. I've been waiting for you.